to talk about something that is a walk with God, and it's called dying daily. To die daily. When I first read this in the scripture, to be honest with you, I thought I really knew what it meant. How many of you all like me? You know, when you were younger, you thought you knew a lot more, and as you got older, you know, I really didn't know what I thought I knew. But if you're around somebody that's in agreement with you, it seems like you know what's going on. I never forget, we had something we used to call a jamboree. Math was always my favorite subject. And of course, my dad was our math teacher and my principal. So I was always first in my class in math. But all of these other schools were going to compete this year in our jamboree. So we all went to Baton Rouge. Everything from Livingston, we picked students from different grades and different academics, and got there. And so I'm listening to the folks around me in Denham Springs telling me how smart I am. Okay? That's fine as long as I was with them. Yeah. When I got over there, I met some people that was equal to and greater than. Yeah. Matter of fact, I felt threatened. I said, I should have studied harder. Yeah. But as long as you swim in the same pond, it seems like you're all right. Yeah. You don't realize that you need to grow until you get outside of your comfort zone. You don't realize that you need to grow until you get outside of your comfort zone. And we all have comfort zone. And it requires sometimes that comfort zone being broken in order for you to learn something. Now, I got a favorite chair at home. My wife is back there. She knows it. And so whenever I'm through walking, that's where I want to sit. It's a recliner. It stretches out. It's got the extended legs on it. I hauled that recliner all the way from Birmingham when she told me it wouldn't even fit in the SUV. I brought it by myself. Amen. Some of y'all help me tonight. And so I get it home. And it is my comfort zone. When I get there, that's my winding down place. And so I went out, did my little normal exercise. I come back in. Well, guess who was sitting in the seat? The first lady. And she said, well, honey, how you doing? I can't answer because you in my seat. I'm not doing good. You need to get up and ask me how I'm doing. But you can't sit there asking me how I'm doing and eating the last piece of the pie. That's not good. Because all of a sudden, what's what? My emotion. But you know what that does? It makes you look at your behavior. And you say to yourself, oh, no, are you going to be moved by a chair? Are you going to be moved by a piece of pie? Let me tell you something. When I first answered that, the answer was yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be moved by it. I'm going to be moved by it till she moved by. But it took me a while. Like about years. And now, it don't bother. I tell her, I said, you can have it till 9 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, you got to give it up. Amen. But it was driving my behavior. Isn't that amazing how you can go out and you're feeling good, you walk, you run, you exercise, or you did whatever you did, and you come home, and you're in a great mood. But one thing changes your behavior at the door. Now, you got wind in your jaw. And it's like, it's upsetting all the good that was going on. Now, I'll tell you something. My blood pressure went up. Hers went down. She was in the chair. I was out. My pressure was up. Yeah. She could look up and say, honey, how you doing today? I'm all right. I'm all right. But I'm looking at her like, hey. So I want to show you something in 1 Corinthians. I'm going to use 3 scriptures tonight. 1 Corinthians 15th chapter, 31st verse. And then the book of Galatians 2, 2nd chapter, 20 and 21. And then the 5th chapter, 24th verse. I'll give you those again. 1 Corinthians 15 and 31. I need you to turn to that one first. Then we will look at Galatians, the 2nd chapter, verses 20 and 21. And then we will turn to Galatians 5 and 24. So 1 Corinthians 15 and 31 is where we're going to start. Now you all know that Corinthians is out the book of Romans. Amen? And it's right before 2 Corinthians. But 1 Corinthians is where we're going to be at tonight. Now if you're there, say amen.
Amen.
I want you to look at the scripture. 1 Corinthians 15 and 31. This is Paul speaking to the church at Corinth. Now, a lot of times, I was talking to a pastor today, and he said to me, he said, Bishop, you don't talk about some of the things that you used to talk about anymore. He said, I was just wondering why you don't talk about it. I said, well, I got tired of beating my head against the wall. I used to tell you all things, and y'all look at me and go, yeah. And then, lo and behold, you go out and you go do something else. And so it seemed like I was just wasting my time because you got tired of hearing. And then some of you simply said to me, you know, this particular pastor will tell you, I used to teach financial seminars. Matter of fact, I probably taught one down here at one time. But I used to go throughout our churches, teaching financial seminars, trying to help our people do better financially. Trying to help our people get out of there, trying to show everybody. Matter of fact, I used to tell people, I promise you, I can come in your home and show you how you can save at least $100 a month. And if I can't save you $100, I'll give you $100 a month. You know how many people took me up on that? 0. You know why? They didn't want their behavior changed. They wanted to continue doing what they were doing. And so the pastor, he said, well, how can you talk about that? I said, because you all have reinforced yourself with this belief. And you'll say, oh, that's Bishop, or that's Brother Vernon, that's presiding prelate, or whatever you call me. That's him. That's fine for him and I. But we ain't like that over here. But the very minute you get in trouble, I'm the one you call. Sometimes my heart goes out when somebody passes. Somebody will pick up the phone and call me and say, Pastor, we don't have enough money to bury this individual. Now, I know you talk to us about getting insurance. I know you talk to us about doing wills. But guess what? We didn't do none of that. So how can you help us? That happens every year with me. Every year. Somewhere in our churches, people will do that. Simply because their behavior is reinforced and they're not worried about basic things. We are caught up in the spectacular. How many athletes do we have in here? Okay, how many of y'all watch athletics? How many of you know what basketball is? My goodness. Everybody looks at players and they put more emphasis on whether a person can dunk the ball, whether they can shoot a three-pointer, and all the spectacular. But they spend very little time on the basic things, like learning how to dribble the ball, learning how to shoot, free throws, learning how to play defense, learning how to do all the little basic things. It is something about human nature. We want the spectacular, but we don't want the basics, because the basics require you changing your behavior. Now, here's what I'm going to share with you tonight. When you get to a place in God where you are able to die daily, and I mean every day, die to something, you are going to be freer than you've ever been in your life. Matter of fact, it's going to free you from the opinions of other people. It's going to free you from mess. It's going to free you from confusion. Because you're going to be saying to yourself, brother or sister, you don't know it, but I died to you. So whatever you say or bring to me, it don't have no impact anymore. It's like water on the dust not. It just goes off. Because I've died to that thing. It don't cause me to rise up and get wind in my jaws like it did before, because I have died to that. And then they'll wonder, what in the world happened? I used to tell you that, you go to pieces. Matter of fact, we thought we were going to call 911 with you. Well, I started dying daily. And when I started dying daily, I became a free man. I became a free woman. There are things that freed me up. And one of the things that hold us as individuals is the opinion of others. When you are free from the opinions of others, where you can listen and know the voice of God, you're on your way to the next level. You're on your way. But you've got to be able to get free. And one other thing I need to say to you all tonight. You need to learn when your season is over with somebody. Your season is not forever with an individual in your life. I think Ivana said it this way. People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. You know, I don't necessarily agree to that, but I do agree with her point. Everything that comes your way is not a permanent situation. It is for that season. When that season is over with, be willing to cut loose and move on. But a lot of times we hang around something that God has moved away from already. He only brought that into your life for that season. And when that season is over with, he moves on. I give you the case in point between Elijah and the widow woman. She only came into his life when the man was hungry and she was about to die. Her and her son. She needed to give him what she was carrying, and he needed to give her what he was carrying. And I tell you that all the time, what you're packing is not for you. It's for somebody else. But when you unload what God has blessed you with, somebody is coming with your load. But guess what? The next time Elijah ran into trouble, he could easily ran back to that woman. But the season was over with for that. He could have easily went back to the brook that dried up where the ravens feeded. But the season was over with. If he'd have went there, he'd have starved to death because the ravens were there for a season. You got to be able to let go. Love, but let go when that season is done. Because a lot of times people will hold you from going into your next season. Because they want to keep you where they are. Not because it will benefit you, but because it benefits them. Because you are there reinforcing their behavior. You know, this old Indian proverb says it this way. You give a man a fish, he can live for one day. But if you teach him how to fish, he can live for a lifetime. In other words, your job is to come and teach him how and then move on. Not to go every day and bring him a fish. Because if you do, he'll get used to that and he won't even change at all. And all you're doing is reinforcing that same behavior. They just simply say, well, I ain't got to work. Pastor don't bring me a fish. He loves me. He loves me. And so he gonna bring me a fish. You know, somebody, God gonna test somebody's heart and give me a fish. Well, what you've done is got a lazy spirit. There's not one scripture in the Bible for being lazy. You realize that? There's not one scripture in the Bible for being lazy. Now, lazy don't mean because you're at home. You can be busy at home. Amen. But you can be lazy at work. I've had a lot of people on job with me who was lazy. It was up to me, I fired them that day. Amen. Paul said in 15 and 31, I protest by your rejoicing, which I have in Christ Jesus, our Lord. I die daily. Now here's the problem. When you first hear that, we want to put it on and say, okay, Lord, I'm ready to die daily. I'm ready to die to my flesh, my desires, my passion, my wills, the things I want my way. I'm willing to give that up, and I'm willing to die. But the problem is this. Next week when you get up, if you don't put on the whole armor of God and say that the next day and the next day and the next day, here comes the enemy. Because he knows that you're not dying this day. There's one thing about the devil. He doesn't know your future, but he knows your past. He knows what you have done. That's why he's always reminding you of what you used to be. But guess what? When you die daily, there are some things that used to fit you won't fit you anymore. That's some things that won't fit you anymore. Simply because you died to yourself. How many of you all in here now are smarter than you were 10 years ago? Okay? How about 5 years ago? How many of y'all ain't smart at all? I can't get everybody in. But we ought to be growing. Don't ever be afraid of something new. It challenges you. It challenges your mind. Think about it. When you go through school, most of everything you're going to learn is probably going to be in elementary grade. Guess what? You learn how to count. Amen. You learn how to brush your teeth. You know how to go to the bathroom. You learn all these things. That don't change when you get 50 years old. Ain't that right? Once you learn it, you got it. But we become creatures of habit. And so because of creatures of habit, it keeps us from growing because it's more comfortable to stay where you are and not learn something. I got an invitation the other day from this phone company I've been dealing with for 30-some years. And they sent me this free certificate for a free phone. And it wasn't a gimmick, it was actually to get me in and renew my contract. I understood that. But you know what? I didn't want to go in. Because I say, if I get a new phone, I'm going to have to sit down and read the book. Everything I learned in the old phone don't work in the new phone. I'm going to have to sit here and program this thing, and it'll start all over. When I was in corporate America, I could hand the phone to somebody. Hey, fix that. When I come back tomorrow, have it ready. I didn't worry about that. But now it's on me. And so I said to myself, brother, are you going to allow your behavior to remain the same? Are you going to go get this phone and challenge your brain to learn something new? And you know what? I went and got the phone. And I'm so happy today that I got it because it's so much better than the last phone. It's more improved than the last phone. But guess what? If I'd have sat there and let fear held me, I would become captive to where I am. And that's the reason most people can't move. It's because fear will come upon them. Faith is the opposite of fear. Faith simply means I believe God is going to help me through His Word, regardless, one way or another. God's going to work this thing out. That's what faith will do. Fear will tell you, don't try that. You're going to fall flat on your face. Everybody's going to be laughing at you. You're going to have a phone that's going to be ringing and you ain't going to even know how to answer it. But faith tells me, nah, if somebody else can do it, I can do it too. And so you have to be able to get out of your comfort zone. But to do that, you've got to be willing to die to your flesh. Your flesh has certain passions. How many of you ever been in the bed in the morning and it's raining and it's thundering and lightning outside and you got to get up and go to work? What does your flesh say to you? Stay in the bed, ain't that right? Call in sick. Hey man, I've had people call me calling. So what you got? You got that same bug this other sister had because she just called. Call. Well, I got all these days up off. I need to use my days. I want to come in and spread my disease on y'all. But the flesh didn't want to get up. The flesh didn't want to get up. And that's what will happen. Our flesh sometimes drives us. Amen. You know, you can be sitting there and you know better than to have that much ice cream. You know better than that. But guess what happens? Your flesh will say to you, you've been a good person. You love God. God will take care of you. Go ahead on, eat the ice cream. Ain't nobody's business. You done paid for it. Eat it. Then when you can't button the stuff, start calling Jesus. Jesus didn't eat the ice cream. But it comes down to discipline. That's one of the hardest things for African Americans, is to discipline ourselves. You can't really do anything spectacular without discipline. Discipline allows you to keep yourself in check. It allows you to say to yourself, no, I'm through with that. I'm not going to do that anymore. It allows you to say, I don't feel like going, but I'm getting up going to church tonight. That's what discipline is. Paul is saying here, I die daily. That means every day there's something comes up that's challenging you that I need to get rid of. My point is this. When you get on top of what's bothering you, it won't bother you as much anymore. I give you a point. Say for instance, Brother Raby. Say Brother Raby makes me sick every time I see him. Now, that's not true, but I'm just using him as an illustration. Say every time I see you, Brother Raby, I get sick. Simply because something that happened between us. So I try to avoid him. He on that side, I go on this side. If he back there, I make sure I'm up here. If he come to the same door, I go back. I run the water till here he go. If I come out and he's standing there, I'm about to have a heart attack. Why? Here's what's happening. You are allowing this person to control your emotions. You allow this person to control your life because you were doing fine until you see it. But then when you see it, this is when the attitude came and the emotions came. My point is this. When you die in that area, you can see the person and it won't have any effect. People say all the time, well, Pastor, how can you forgive forgive people and then move on. It's like a car. You put it in neutral. When somebody do you something, forgive them. Yeah. But neutral means it don't go forward and it don't go back. Which means whatever you've done to me, I don't use it for you and I don't use it against you. I'm in neutral regarding that situation. That's when you know you have total forgiveness. But until you do that, that situation will control you. And I'll tell you what happens. If you run from it, the enemy will make sure wherever you run to, it's going to be sitting right there. It may be a different person. They may be a different color. They may be a different height, a different weight. But the same old spirit that you just left is sitting there. That's right. You know, you ever been somewhere and you say, you know, they remind me of so-and-so. I couldn't stand her or him, and now here I am with the same person. Well, let me tell you something. Once you get free of that, see, when you're not free, you focus in on what's like you. Now you go out here and buy a car, and a new car. And all of a sudden when you buy your car, all of a sudden it seems like every other car is like you. You know, I just bought this car. I didn't see all these cars on the road before. They were on the road. But when you start focusing in on your car, then all of a sudden you start seeing all the other cars that look like your car. And that's what happens when you refuse to change. The focus remains on you. To grow means to take your focus off you and on the things of God that God has equipped you with. Now turn with me to Galatians, the 2nd chapter. Somebody said, Lord, help me to die daily. Help me to die daily. Help me to die for my brothers and sisters. Oh, come on. Help me to die for my pastor. Amen. Y'all said that was pretty good. And others use money. But it's a point. My point is this. When you start dying, I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes you need to even die from the opinion of your parents. Now I know you young people can't say nothing. Because you probably get knocked out. You can't stay with me. But my point is this. They love you. I love my mama right now. But every time I call her, she's going to play the role of mother. And she's going to give me instructions. Now she was on the phone the other day telling me stuff. When I was 5 years old, she was repeating this stuff. My Lord, I ain't 5 no more. But I had to get to the point where, okay, all right, Mom, I love you, Mom. You know what I'm saying? I had to put those fillers in there. And finally I said, Mom, look, I gotta run. And she said, you tired of talking to me? I said, oh, Mom, come on now. Get off this. But I had to get to the place where it doesn't affect me. Because sometimes they don't say something you need. But if you tune them out, you're going to miss everything. You're going to miss everything. And so you have to learn how to die daily. Every day, there's a war, Paul said, going on in the Bible. There's a war between the spirit and the flesh. Yes. The spirit is wanting to do the things of God. The flesh has a mind of its own, and it wants to do something else besides the will of God. Yeah. Amen. Now, I'll tell you this tonight. I'm not going to turn to it, but it's in the Bible. Whichever one you obey, that's who your master is. That's right. Whichever one you obey, that is who your master is. If you listen to your flesh more than you listen to your spirit, then your flesh is your master. But guess what? If you listen to the spirit mode, then the spirit is your master. Whoever's your master, that is who's going to control your destiny. Look at Galatians, the 2nd chapter, verses 20 and 21. Here's what Paul said. I am crucified with Christ. What does crucify mean? It means to execute, to bind, or to die from something. Anytime he says, I'm crucified with Christ, that means I've executed some things in my flesh that don't control me anymore. I'm in control of it. I'm crucified with Christ. Nevertheless, he said, I still live. Some people think, well, because you've been crucified with Christ, you don't have a life. I'm here tonight to tell you, you live better. When you crucify yourself, then when you obey your flesh. Obeying your flesh always gets you in trouble.
Yeah.
And some of you can see the trouble coming. And you're saying by the end of the night, I'm going to feel so bad. Because I know where this road leads. But when you're crucified with Christ, he says, I live. Yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. You need to personalize that and say, you know, Christ gave himself for me.
Yes.
What am I going to do?
Yes.
What am I going to do?
Yes.
He died for, no one has died for me. He died for my sins. What am I going to do about that statement? Look at the 21st verse. I do not frustrate the grace of God. What does frustrate mean? Frustrate simply means to not pay attention to despise, to put on the side, and act like it's not there. In other words, God has given you this grace to take you through, and all of a sudden, anytime something comes up, I want you to remember this. When you have to make a choice between your flesh and your spirit, the scripture says it this way, my grace is sufficient. So that simply means that God has enough grace sitting right there for you. If you walk it out, his grace will bring you through that situation. And you won't even have to worry about it. But if you go with what your flesh does, the first thing you're going to do is allow the flesh to get in control of you, and you are going to negate the grace of God. Yes, sir. So a lot of times, God can't do nothing with you. Now, he's all powerful, he's almighty, he's all knowing. Sure, he could just slay you. But God does not like that. God looks at his word that's inside of you. And how you react to the word determines how God is going to react to you. In other words, when he sees this word inside of you and you're trying to walk this word out by faith, God is more than likely to help you than if you start obeying your flesh.